Well, it's Monday, and that can only mean one thing. Welcome to Monday Night Ron. Um, Ashley mentioned wanting to see a Monday Night Ron actually about wrestling, and it makes sense. So let's just do that. I don't really have anything super important to say or anything directly on my mind, but I did notice earlier, and we'll touch on a few things probably because I just ramble on. But today, as I was looking through the dirt sheets, and for those who aren't up to speed on wrestling terms, I'll try. I guess I should probably try to explain some of this as I go. And if you're not sure what any of these terms mean, if I don't explain them, just ask in the comments, and I'll be happy to explain it. But the dirt sheets are basically websites where they talk about different things in wrestling. Sometimes it's spoilers on matches. Sometimes it's just rumors. It can be all kinds of different things. But dirt sheets have been around well before the internet as it's known now. There used to be, newsletters that went about. There were 800, 900 numbers you could call to get information. There were so many resources out there well before the internet as we know it. But I was on one of the websites today and noticed that Hillbilly Jim was announced for the WWE Hall of Fame. And I'll be honest to you, most of my focus is going to be WWE across the board. Not that I have anything against New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor or the countless other promotions out there. It's just I've been more traditionally a WWE guy for as long as I can remember. So Hillbilly Jim, he was one of those really, really big, larger than life characters. And I don't remember a super ton about him. He went from wrestler to manager. I know he had some good matches with Andre the Giant. They were often paired together. When he was out with injury, he used to kind of manage some of his family members and things like that. So someone like Hillbilly Jim, that's one of those earlier names I remember. Like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hillbilly Jim, Ricky Steamboat. There's so many other similar names from that era that really kind of jump out. So I think it's awesome. I really, really do think that's awesome he's been put in the Hall of Fame. But it made me think about others and how they got to this point. So for this year, the class includes Goldberg, the Dudley Boys, Ivory, and Jeff Jarrett. The weird thing about that, if you look back at all of those names I just mentioned, pretty much all of those had their biggest and best times outside of WWE, which is kind of odd. I know they're trying to be more open nowadays and include more, and they're bringing in people from other organizations that maybe they wouldn't have in years past. Like right now, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is probably the guy in WWE, depending on who you ask. On Tuesday nights on SmackDown, he's definitely the guy. Like, he's just killing it. Looking forward, hopefully, to him and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. We'll see what comes of that. I might touch on that in a minute because I'm not really sure how I'm liking how this John Cena angle is playing out. But if we look at Goldberg, Goldberg was the one of the boss prime players in WCW with his streak and just overall dominance. I was never much of a Goldberg guy. Probably the same reason I never was a Superman guy. Guy comes out there, he's nearly invincible, just whooping ass left and right. I don't like that. I like people to get whooped on every now and then. I don't like people just coming out and having squash matches. Squash match. There we go. When one person comes out and just absolutely destroys another one, they use those type matches to enhance people. So say they wanted to boost me up in the wrestling world. So they make a match with me with a local jobber. A jobber is someone who's basically being paid to lose. So when you go to cities and you watch wrestling on TV, and suddenly this very famous wrestler is kind of fighting a no-name, that's a jobber. They're going to go out there and just completely squash them, destroy them, and it makes them look like a super strong person, but really it's just a scrub that they picked up. Or a jabroni. Jabroni is also another term for a jobber. So there you have that. And Goldberg was fed a lot of jabronis over time. Dudley Boys, I can't say anything negative about them. They are a fantastic team. They're a fantastic solo act, in their separate ways as well, especially for Bubba Ray. But you can't deny for a second that they were the heart and soul pretty much of ECW. The Dudleys played a huge, huge role, and they brought a lot of that over. And I think the Dudleys really helped open the doors for others coming from other organizations because people start looking at them and go, holy crap. These guys are legit. These aren't just a bunch of dudes getting drunk and fighting in a bingo hall somewhere. Like, these guys are straight up legit. Ivory kind of bounced around too. I think her initial start, I would say, would be back in the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the Glow. She was one of those original Glow girls. So, not that she didn't do a lot in WWE because she did, but her start definitely wasn't there. And then there's Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, Jeff's been fighting a lot of demons, so I don't want to talk too bad about him. He recently got done with his WWE sponsored rehab for alcohol. I believe it was alcohol. It was a substance issue. The cool thing that WWE does, if you are ever under their employ, if you need help, you get addicted to drugs, alcohol, whatever, they will pay for your rehab. I can't think of anyone else in the universe that does that. I've seen them reach out to so many people that some would call washed up, has-beens, what have you, and they've been able to take advantage of these programs and really, really get some help. So kudos to them, and kudos to you, Jeff Jarrett, for sticking your neck out there and going, you know what, I need some help. I don't think Jeff ever really drew much of funds. He wasn't putting asses in the seat. He was an intercontinental champion. That was probably his real biggest claim to fame. He carried that decently, but to me, he always needed somebody else. When he was with Deborah, she was kind of the eye candy. Really, she didn't do too much else. But as a manager, people started paying attention then, but their eyes were more on Deborah. He was tagged with Owen Hart for a while, and Owen was really kind of carrying things. And they put Jeff with China. China was more of the focus. Jeff had kind of a falling out, went and started his own thing. He started several things over the years, but he really had a foot in the door and really developed. Was now Impact Wrestling, then was Total Nonstop Action, TNA. It's still kind of called TNA in some circles, but yeah, a lot of people were surprised to see Jeff Jarrett coming into the Hall of Fame, and I was one of them. So it's kind of interesting to see how the Hall of Fame shaping up this year. Away from that, we've seen Ronda Rousey come into the WWE world. They've announced her for every Monday night prior to WrestleMania, so she's going to be slowly building up. A little shaky so far, but I think she's definitely going to be something. Speaking of managers, looking back, touched on that with like Deborah and even Hillbilly Jim. I think she could really benefit from having a manager right now. Her mic skills are not where they need to be at for this platform. Physicality, we haven't really seen it yet just because she hasn't had any in-ring action. So I'm really curious to see how Ronda goes. I'm definitely pulling for her. I'm a Ronda fan, but right now I've just been very, very underwhelmed. And they may be doing some of that on purpose. I don't know yet. So it'll be interesting to see how she develops as a person and an on-air talent, especially transitioning from the UFC world to the wrestling world. We'll see. Speaking of wrestling and I guess this whole thing's about wrestling, but John Cena, I kind of touched on that a minute ago. John doesn't have a gateway into WWE's WrestleMania right now, which WrestleMania is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, and some would say the biggest pay-per-view or the biggest wrestling event ever. I'd probably be one of them. I prefer Royal Rumble. That's my pay-per-view, but WWE's WrestleMania has been a huge, huge stable for many, many years. I don't even know what number we're on. We're in the 30s now, so for 30 plus years, yeah, it's been WrestleMania, and everyone wants to be on that show. John has kind of failed here and there on the Monday night show. They haven't separated into a Monday night and Tuesday night show different. They're almost like different companies, but they're not. It's weird. I don't like it. I get kind of why they do it. It has its moments, but it'd be nice to see some more crossovers and things like that. They do a draft every year, but it's just, I don't know. I think they need to go back to the drawing board on a lot of things. Right now, he's challenging AJ Styles. John Cena is AJ Styles at Fastlane this month's pay-per-view, which is kind of the pay-per-view where they really don't seem to know what to do, but they just throw one out there. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes up at. There's rumors of maybe him facing Undertaker, but he said he's not facing Taker. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe Undertaker comes out at Fastlane and challenges John Cena. I don't see John Cena coming in between the match of Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles because that's going to put a lot of asses in seats. That's going to be a huge, huge main event, and they would be foolish to put a third in there or anything else. They need to let those two have at it because they put on in Japan, and they put on extremely well, and I would love for the Americans to be able to see that. And really worldwide, there's a lot of people that haven't seen that interaction, and it would be cool for that. So, yeah, I think we haven't seen the last of Taker. I don't want him coming back this year because it seems kind of stupid to have him basically drop the Undertaker name at the last WrestleMania. He left it all in the ring, literally. And then to have him come back the next year, it seems kind of pointless to do that. So we'll see what happens. There have been rumors of maybe Rey Mysterio coming back and him challenging Rey Mysterio so that they can get them going, which wouldn't be a bad WrestleMania match. But I don't know if I really want to see John Cena and Rey Mysterio. Rey looked great at Royal Rumble. They brought him back for a one-off. He came in, surprised everybody, did his thing, and he looked fantastic. Probably the best shape of his life as far as I'm concerned, and was still just killing it in the ring. He's got a lot left to offer WWE, and I think he definitely likes the paycheck that comes with it, but I think he's also at that stage in his career where he doesn't need it, and he would also probably rather have time off to spend with his family or just doing whatever he wants to do where he's not tied down to traveling, 300 days out of the year or whatever the travel schedule really is. So, yeah, I guess that's enough rambling on wrestling for right now. I'm going to watch wrestling tonight. Maybe there'll be some more follow-up. I'd love talking about wrestling, so feel free to talk in the comments. We'll interact back and forth. Message me on Facebook or leave comments on Facebook, and I'll try to address stuff. If you have questions or you just want insight, maybe I'll do some videos about that. I don't know. I really do enjoy talking wrestling, so especially on the WWE side. Again, give me reasons to talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm more than happy to do so. So until next time, that's Monday Night Raw. I can't even talk straight. That's Monday Night Raw. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, let's watch wrestling together tonight. Until next time, I'm Panda.